Welcome back, fellow milk drinkers, to yet another Monday Milk Review. My name is Jacob, and today we're going to be looking at Dairy Farmer's newest release. Now, I have been talking recently about Dairy Farmer's releasing 2 new flavors. Well, in fact, there's a third, and it's available at Coles. So far, I haven't heard anyone really talking about this. I've heard a few little things, but not so much, so we're going into this quite blind. If you've been watching the Monday Milk Review for quite a while, you'll know that the Choc Honeycomb is actually one of my best reoccurring rated flavors. There's the Violet Crumble, which I gave a 10, as well as Oak's Choc Honeycomb, which I believe I might have given a 9 or a high 8. Of course, this is Dairy Farmers, and I actually have very little experience with Dairy Farmers. I've never looked at their chocolate flavor just because there's been so much more interesting stuff going on. I really should do that. If you want to see that, let me know. But of course, my priorities currently lie elsewhere. We still have to do Dairy Farmers white chocolate, salted chocolate, as well as Oak's Nutrigrain. They have really been putting me on the back foot lately. There's just been so many new flavors that I can't keep up. Let's get straight back into this milk. Of course, this is one of 3 new flavors by Dairy Farmer. All of them feature the silver design as well as a limited edition sticker. I don't know how long they're going to stick around for, but I'm hoping a while. They're new, really interesting flavors. I have noticed that the flavor sticks onto the bottom of the bottle quite a lot with this drink, so make sure you give it a good shake before opening it. Some other valuable information is that these go out of date quite quickly, so we can expect that this is very authentic full cream milk. I know a lot of flavored milks use preservatives nowadays, and it's usually the ones that are more authentic that taste the best, so I've got really high hopes. Let's crack it open. Again, really loving this silver cap. It looks so nice. Let's pour it in. It's got quite a nice, dark, rich color. It definitely looks like this is going to be quite flavorful. Ooh, yes, okay. That honestly smells so much like a Crunchie. Its similarity is almost uncanny. It's a delicious smelling drink. I would say it probably has a little bit more strength in the honey than it does the chocolate, which is something quite cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one fares. Smelling from the glass now. Exactly the same thing. The chocolate smells a little bit richer from the glass. The honey has probably taken a little bit of a back seat. Let's get into the taste. So the first thing that I noticed that this is way thinner than what I expected. I had high hopes that this was going to be much thicker. In fact, it's quite thin. It's probably not as bad as something as a Breaker, but it's definitely not up amongst my top contenders. The chocolate is very rich, very powerful. The honey is taking a massive backseat in the flavor profile, which I think is a little bit of a shame because it's just sort of drowning out the reason why you want this drink. This is supposed to combine 2 flavors, and when one is just seemingly drowned out, you may as well just drink the normal version of chocolate. The honey is not something that I so much taste, as rather I know it's there because of the inherent sweetness that lies behind the chocolate. The chocolate does lean in flavor a little bit towards dark chocolate. It's still a milk chocolate flavor, but it's not as sweet as you would expect. The honey is behind it, increasing its sweetness. So you could almost maybe assume that this is going for an angle of a dark chocolate honeycomb flavor. Now, of course, I finished this drink without much hesitation whatsoever. It's really tasty, and I honestly can say that I'm gonna drink this off camera, guaranteed. A lot of the flavors I'll put in the fridge and I'll just sip on them. Why? And sip on them. Wow. I'll just put it in the fridge and sip on it for the rest of the week. Now, with all of the critiques considered, I think I'm going to give this one an 8. No, let's go a bit lower. I think this one deserves a 7 out of 10. It has quite a few issues that make it difficult to compare to the competing flavors. If you do like this flavor, Violet Crumble is always going to be my #1 recommendation, and then probably try Oak's and then this one. I know that there are other brands that do Choc Honeycomb, but they're not widely available for me. In summary, it's quite a good drink, but it could use some improvements. A little bit more thickness, perhaps a little bit more towards a milk chocolate and a little bit more presence of the honey. I still think it's a very tasty drink that'll be very easy to tip back, but you know, there's better out there. That about wraps us up for this week's episode of the Monday Milk Review. I do hope you've enjoyed watching. Please feel free to like and maybe even consider subscribing if you want to keep up to date with all of the newest and interesting flavored milks. Thanks once again, and I'll see you next week in the Monday Milk Review. Bye bye.